Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Second Breakfast Podcast.
Yes!
That's Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Yeah! Monday, baby! I'm so excited, man. Come on. I've missed you all. I've missed you, Second Breakfast Nation.
Indeed. Indeed. I have missed you as well. And Phil, I have missed you.
Yep. Ditto.
Being in Houston, man, it's like the Phantom Zone in Superman. I'm constantly in a window going like, you know? So,
I think it's funny that you happen to mention Houston and Superman because I think of Superman 2 when General Zod is like, so this is it. This is planet Houston. Which, by the way, I've been to Houston once, and I was like, Planet Houston. Interesting. I was staying with a buddy of mine in Dallas, and we wanted to go. He's a man. His parents are Belgian, and they live in Dallas, and he grew up in New York. So figure that out.
right?
So he was coming from one place, and I was coming from another, and we were staying in Dallas with his parents, and we wanted to go see the Rangers play.
Okay.
But the Rangers were out of town.
Okay.
Guess who was in town?
Who was in town?
The Houston Astros. So we took the rental car and drove it from Dallas to Houston.
Oh, you don't mean that the Astros were
I called
playing
your
for some
parents. I
reason
actually
in...
called your parents, and I almost stayed with your parents, but instead we drove to Houston to Minute Maid Park,
Yes.
and then watched the Houston Astros, the Astros of Houston, play another team. I don't remember who. And then got back in the car and drove all the way back to Dallas.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
That means you have been to Minute Maid Park to see the Astros play more than I have.
You've never been there?
Not even back when it was Enron Field. It just showed up right when I left, right? It was built when I left.
Oh, I mean, okay. But you're there right now.
I'm right. But I was busy. I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of it. Okay.
Well, okay.
All right, Mr.
Okay.
Disappointment. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to our
Can
topic
I
for
say
today.
something about... Okay, but can I say something about your ballpark?
Yes.
It's a lovely ballpark.
Yes.
You're gonna enjoy it.
I look forward to enjoying it. I do. So, it is Monday, and what Phil and I do is take 5 minutes
enough.
to
I'm
tell
done.
you everything that we watched
Okay.
in the last week, and everything we are excited for in the week to come.
Yes.
And we do it all on a timer, and we try to actually keep to 5 minutes. I mean, obviously, we're not going to keep to 5 minutes with the whole thing, but we try to keep
we've
to
already
5
ruined
minutes
that.
when we talk about the week that was and the week to come. So that's my story. And
Do you need me to do you have a stopwatch, or do you want me to do it?
boom, baby.
All right.
So okay, full disclosure, everybody. What I do is I set it to 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and then I just guesstimate the last 10 seconds. And you could tell that I'm really into it because I actually hate the word guesstimate because it's not a word, and I hate what I've become. So, boom.
God, haven't been to Minute Maid Park, using words like guesstimate. Who are you?
I don't even know anymore, Phil.
You're a shell.
I am adrift. I am
Man.
I am
Shell of a
adrift.
man.
A sea without an anchor. Okie dokie. Are you ready?
I am.
You want to go first? No,
You go first. I always go first, and I feel like I talk too much, and you don't get enough time. You go first.
All right, here we go. Here we
Okay.
go.
Hit it.
I thought, viewers, before we start, I thought that this was going to be the week that Phil bested me in terms of number of films seen, and it may have been, but I made up some ground at the end. I did. I made up some ground. So, here we go.
Oh, yeah. You did, by the way, there's no way you bested me because I only saw 3 movies this week.
Wait. So you're saying I had to have seen less than 3 movies?
No, there's no way you couldn't have bested me.
Oh, couldn't have bested me. Sorry.
Like,
I
you were
thought
worried
said there's
about that,
no
but
way
I
you
literally
bested
only
me. I was
saw
like, wait a
3
minute.
movies. I only
Okay,
saw 3 movies,
here
and
we
I
go.
saw them all in
In
one
fact,
day.
I did. And
Here we
so, here we go. Starting the timer now. First movie I saw this week, or the first one I want to talk about because it wasn't the first one chronologically, the Project Melway movie for this week, Braveheart.
Yes.
You may have heard of it because it won everything and made $1 zillion.
Yes.
I watched The Change Up, yet another body switching comedy with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. I'll say this though, and I will take flack on this. Actually, pretty impressed with the job Ryan Reynolds did with having, like, I'm going to act like Jason Bateman acts. I think he was actually pretty good at that, and he made me believe it. And Olivia Wilde was funny and adorable.
A thoroughly watchable.
Indeed, totally
watchable.
great. Yeah. The old, from the early noughts, the movie Elephant, which was a Gus Van Sant film that he made as a response to Columbine. Man, is that a hard movie to watch. And then I watched the movie Elephant, which is what it was sort of a remake of, and it's a short film that it almost can't be called a film, although I got it on a DVD, so it counts. It's by a director by Alan Clark. And it is literally 18 clips of murders, and it's all the same thing. The guy is walking, and it's a tracking shot that goes on for probably a really long time, and he meets somebody else, he shoots them, and then he walks away, and then the next one happens, and it's horrifying, but also kind of not, because it's very the same and whatever. I saw 42. 42. Oh. Did you see it?
No, I'm waiting. I have a friend that I told I would wait.
Okay. The parts that were great were good enough that it made me angry at the parts that weren't.
Wow.
And
that's very different than the parts that were great made me angry, or made me pulled me through the parts that weren't. You actually went a different direction than I thought you were going to go.
It's true, and usually that's the way I go, but we'll talk about this movie at some point, I am sure. And very, very briefly, the last movie I saw was the other movie on the Elephant from 1989 film, which was another short film starring Gary Oldman called The Firm, where he plays a soccer hooligan, and he is amazing. So good. Loved it. So that is.
You could have just said Gary Oldman, and I would have. The was amazing would have just been tacked on.
True, but what I mean when I say that, and then I'll kick it over to you. He was amazing, even for Gary Oldman.
No.
I know. I know.
All
right.
I straight love Gary Oldman.
Go.
I saw 3 movies this week, all on the same day. Because my wife was out of town and my daughter was at my mom's house, and I was like, I haven't seen a thing. I saw a movie called The Omen, the original. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. It is Andy assigned me this movie for our horror, my education. My horror education. By the way, I saw someone last week, and he's like a friend who's from Wales, and he was watching our show, which is great. And he's in town, and he was like, I won't do his accent because it'll be wrong, but he's like, oh, I saw you talking about a horror picture, because I had said it like that, and so we kept going back and forth, horror, for like a minute. It made me very happy. Anyways, it made me feel good about life. Hi, David, if you're watching. So I watched The Omen. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Then I watched Slapshot, which is the hockey movie with Paul Newman, directed by George Roy Hill, who directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I believe he directed The Sting as well. He just directs a lot of really good movies.
It's true.
And I read he had a really interesting Wikipedia page about how the fact that critics hated him, and all he did was just make movies that people enjoyed thoroughly. This no exception. This movie's very interesting. This movie, two things about this movie I want to say. One,
you don't have a lot of time.
Okay, well, fine. One is it's either the most homophobic movie or the most advanced gay rights movie of all time. The third movie I saw was Braveheart. The other thing I want to say is in Slapshot, you see Ralphie's mom from Christmas Story naked. That was traumatic for me.
Nice. The only movie that you might be excited about that's coming out this weekend, I'm excited for it. Phil isn't. Oblivion, starring Tom Cruise. Other than that, it's another Baron week at the multiplex. I'm
Not
Andy Ross.
excited,
That's
but
Phil
I am
the Ball.
seeing it. Okay.
Say again?
Not excited, but I am seeing it.
Sure. We are Second Breakfast. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.